What's good, YouTube? Hope each and every one of you guys are doing well. Now, I got a bunch of topics I want to reel off in this one, but before I go ahead and dive into that, let me show you guys what went down over at our Discord today. All right, so check it out with me. Today, we closed out of the Baidu puts that we entered into last week for a over $2,000 gain. Those that are over at the Discord who are in the options with me, we are up big for the month of January. So that sounds like a bit of you. If you guys want to get in on the action, link is in the description below to join us over there. And before we get going, let me share this with you guys because this was a post in the cord from one of the guys in the team letting me know that I'm helping him pay his way through college. Guys, this hit differently and put me in a good mood today because I know when I was at college, I was broke as hell. So any additional money I could have made, I know would have gone a long way. So I just wanted to share that with you guys before we kick off this video. Now, whenever we get these heavy red days in the markets, I always get a ton of you guys asking me, should we jump into put options on this stock or that stock or this stock? Particularly those stocks that have hit major news headlines like the CNBC and are down big on the day. So like last week, it was all about Peloton. That was down like 25%. I had a ton of you guys asking me, should we go ahead, jump into Peloton puts? And guys, this is literally not my strategy at all. I pay very close attention to my entry, my exit, and the setup as well. Because these types of stocks that have hit major news headlines, all it takes is like the smallest catalyst for that stock to move upwards. Like check Peloton today, guys. This thing is up like 10% on the day. Why? Because an activist investor pushes for CEO's resignation, guys. What even is that, right? That has caused a 10% move in the stock price, added 1 billion to the company, and nothing's happened at all. CEO hasn't resigned, he's still there. And this is all just speculation. So those that got into put options on this last week when it was down like 25%, those put options would have been fried by now, right? Because we've seen this stock move up off very little catalyst and very little news. So today, when you guys are seeing big stocks down, I've had a lot of messages saying, should you get into put options on this stock or that stock? Just be mindful, guys, because if you are, then jumping into a stock that's just down big, not looking at the setup, that's just another form of FOMO, but just in the opposite direction. And then you could have your options fried if you start seeing those stocks move to the upside, which they could very easily do if you've seen some heavy selling pressure in the stocks. You want to make sure the setup is spot on. Let's talk about the SPY, the overall market, because over the last 5 years, this has been a growth engine, guys. We've seen this continuing to just rise over the last decade even. Now, from every couple of years, guys, we do get crashes, we do get corrections. Like we saw a major one in 2020 and again in 2018 during the whole taper tantrum phase. And right now, we're just going through another corrective move in the SPY. What I've noticed is it's throwing a lot of you guys off. You're now looking at the SPY thinking, is this just going to continue to fall? Is it no longer a viable way of generating wealth over time? Let's just take a step back and think about what the SPY is, guys, because it is a collection of arguably 500 of the most powerful companies in America. And the reason why we've seen jumps in the index over the last decade is because of massive advancements in innovation and technology. And if we just look to over the next 5 to 10 years time, we're going to continue to see innovation increase and we're going to continue to see technology just move in leaps and bounds. And that's going to benefit a lot of the names within the index. Now, yes, there are some dead weights in there and there'll always be. If I had it my way, I'd just completely throw them out. But fortunately, those aren't the ones that drive the index. It's particularly those heavyweight ones that are driven by innovation, driven by technology. So the roadmap for the SPY, SP 500 over the next 5 to 10 years time remains intact. This is just a healthy pullback that I'm buying into, got my regular monthly investment into this. So that doesn't change. So those of you guys who had this one as part of your long-term investment, as long as your long-term investment piece, the story still remains intact, right? Like I say, just a healthy investable pullback before they make the next leg up, whenever that may be. But check it out. Let's look at the market today because we saw some crazy moves out there in the market. We saw like heavy selling pressure during the first half of the session. Then we saw a bounce back during the second half of the session. Now that means that we got this tall wick on the candle. That just shows there's a ton of buying pressure during the day, and that was a bounce off that 300-day moving average, right? So this is interesting. It's an interesting setup, guys. And what it could show is we could potentially see a relief rally from here, a little bit of momentum in the market. Other times we've seen the index drop down. Earlier this year, back in 2018, we saw similar types of setup. We saw intraday massive move down and then a lot of buying pressure as we closed out the session. So we could see some momentum from here, a little bit of a relief rally, especially given the fact that we're going into heavyweight earnings season. We got Microsoft, we got Tesla, we got Apple all delivering their earnings this week. And corporate America, guys, is still very much alive. It's not dead. These companies are still producing massive amounts of revenues, massive amounts of profits. And it could be a good reminder to the market that they are still doing well as businesses. They're positioned strong for growth moving forward. So that could create a little bit of a pop in prices, a little bit of a drive up in the markets. I would not be surprised to see that. And the market could be gearing up for that, given the movement that we've seen today, all right? That buying pressure during the second half of the day could be the market gearing up for a little bit of a push towards as we go through this week. Now, my expectation is, regardless of what it does, even if it was to move up from here, a little bit of momentum, we put in a low of 420 today, 420 on the SPY, closed out very close to 440. I would expect, even if we saw a little bit of momentum from here, a little bit of a relief rally, for us to retest the low that we put in today of 420 this year. Now, I mentioned in my last video, reason being, Q4 earnings, they're going to come in strong. What about Q1 and Q2, which are seasonally weaker times for earnings? So we could potentially see a little bit of a slowdown in demand. Those numbers not look as great as Q4. That could cause a little bit more volatility and a drop in prices. So I do expect us to revisit the low that we put in today of 420 this year. But we could see a little bit of a relief rally, a little bit of momentum from here. That would help some phenomenal call option plays if we were to get into those types of moves over the next couple of weeks. All right, so that's the roadmap and how I'm seeing the market pan out over the next couple of weeks and the course of 2022. I think this is an investable level right here in the markets to get into names that you like, you want to own, that are doing well, that have pricing power, that have market share dominance. Those are the types of names that will prosper, and we'll see some good price action towards the back end of this year, my expectation, and into 2023. All right, so that's one to cover that off with you guys. Just put you guys on a little bit of game, let you know exactly what's going on with these markets so you guys can get positioned in the right ways to take advantage of what's currently going on right now. So that's what I've got for you guys in this one. I'll catch you on the next one.